Okay, I'm gonna call the meeting to order because I always tell our presenters that they can leave.
No, last week was our last day.
So I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Our policeman is have to wait. All right. Let me first get we do have a quorum, I think. Or don't we? Do we have a quorum yet? All right, so we'll wait on the minutes. We don't have a quorum yet. All right, so I'm pleased to have as a presenter tonight Darrell Plummer, and his sidekick is Rania Masaba?
Rania.
Rania, who I don't know. Welcome.
Thank you.
Darren is the supervisor of equity and inclusion, and I know that Pete's been involved with that a little bit also. So I'm going to have him make a presentation, and then we'll have his questions and answers. Okay, Darren. Yours.
So first I want to start by thanking you all for your time. I know you got a full agenda and, lives that you're coming from. We got 1,000 things waiting for us to do. I want to thank Pete for always being a liaison to the Human Relations and connection to our Diversity and Awareness Committee, and colleague Rania for joining me tonight. Just wanted to talk about a couple things as it relates to what we're doing in the district right now, how it relates to my role and the role of our colleagues throughout the district. So first, we'll talk about really getting to the instructional core, right? We believe everybody, like even this committee, right, all the way down to the classroom, we should be learning with and from each other in the classroom. Our content should reflect that, our classroom space, our buildings. So that's one of the things we work on with our staff through our equity leaders. Our climate and culture, as we continue to build out capacity with restorative practices, a way of building relationships and community, but also dealing with conflict and tension when it comes up. And then we'll wrap up with talking about our Diversity Night Festival coming up on Friday, May 2nd, which is a culmination of a lot of the things that we work on throughout the year, right, to celebrate our different cultures and languages, traditions throughout our community. So first I wanted to have Rania talk about her role as an equity leader and how that taps into the instructional core across the district.
Thank you, Mr. Plummer. Thank you, everyone, for having us tonight. So my name is Rania Saba, and I currently teach 4th grade math at Connolly Road School. And in addition to my teaching role, I am an equity leader, teacher equity leader. So I've been...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Dr. Rania Saba. I gotta get it right.
Yes, I recently defended my dissertation. Dr. Garazi knows that, and I'm officially a doctor. Thank you. So in addition to my teaching role, thank you, I serve as an equity leader in the district, and I have been collaborating with Mr. Plummer and other teacher equity leaders in all the buildings in the district for about 4, probably 5 years now, to guide and support teachers throughout all the content areas in really making their classrooms inclusive, equitable, and culturally responsive to meet the needs of all the learners. So my main responsibility, along with the other teacher equity leaders and Mr. Plummer, has been to facilitate professional development sessions where we provide teachers with resources that actually guide them in seeing the importance of validating their students' cultural identities and then using that knowledge to build and bridge the connection between home and school. A lot of our students, come from different cultures, and when they come to our schools, we really expect them to follow like mainstream cultural norms, such as sit down, raise your hand when you're talking. Unfortunately, these we cannot impose on our students anymore because they come from different backgrounds where these norms are different. So when we learn about our students, when we validate and affirm their cultural identities, then we are able to bridge that gap between home and school. And why do we do that? We do that because we want our students to feel that they belong in our classrooms. We want them to feel like they are valued, seen, they're heard. We want them to feel like they are participants in the learning environment. They add value to our learning environment. and I think our ultimate goal is to not only make them feel like they belong, but more importantly, to have them achieve and be successful in school and outside school as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And just to build some more context to that, it's been, I guess, a 5 or 6 year span where we've had district-wide equity training, building teacher efficacy with being culturally responsive. We shifted to content area specific equity leaders to continue supporting and coaching our teachers. When we first did a baseline with teachers providing their self-efficacy with, all right, I can identify what it means to be a culturally responsive teacher, and these are the outcomes I expect in the classroom. When we first started our training, that self-efficacy was about 34%. We did a midpoint baseline that rose to 57%, and now we're in the process of doing that baseline again this year. And from what we've seen, it's over 75, 80%. So over the course of, 5 or 6 years, raising the self-efficacy of our educators across the district. And it's an ongoing challenge. It's an ongoing effort to build capacity because our classrooms are becoming even more and more diverse. So we find that important, just like Dr. Stoppa said. Students being able to participate, see themselves in content, see themselves in the classroom, increases motivation, increases engagement, and overall increases academic achievement over time. So the second piece we really wanted to touch on was the climate and culture efforts with building out our capacity with restorative practices. So restorative practices is the science of building relationships in community. It's originally from indigenous practices all over the world. It's been packaged to bring into, first it went into juvenile justice systems, but now it's in educational systems. And it's really about a proactive approach about building relationships and community in the classroom, throughout our schools, throughout our district, but also having an explicit practice to deal with tension and conflict when it comes up, so that both parties understand their part in it and can also be part of the resolution process. A lot of times, as adults, we can take conflict from young people, right? And they don't build their muscle to deal with those conflicts themselves. Think about two young people arguing over a toy, right? And one snatches the toy. We say, that was wrong, you shouldn't have done that, give it back, say sorry, right? When they have the capability of doing that themselves, and as students progress through their educational career, many of those same examples happen when they're in middle school and high school. And one of the best skills we can build, one of the best things we can communicate to our young people is that we're all part of the same community. We're all in relationship with each other. And when there is tension and conflict, because tension and conflict are inevitable, we are all working together. We have an explicit practice to deal with that tension and that conflict, over time. We've seen some dramatic decreases, especially at our middle school, in terms of overall discipline incidents, overall suspensions, which is at the heart of, again, getting to that instructional core. The more young people are in classrooms, the more young people feel safe and seen in those classrooms, and they know they have an explicit practice to deal with conflict. A calm mind is a learning mind. We take that approach with our restorative practices. But overall, I want to say we've seen over 60% decrease in discipline incidents and over 70% decrease in overall suspensions. Because there are a critical mass of people who are collaborating, who are trained in restorative practices in that environment. And as we build out our capacity, right now we have 16 or 17 trainers across the district from high school, middle school, elementary. We're continuing to grow that capacity. So as we continue to have more critical masses of people that are trained together in those environments, climate and culture, and those specific data points with discipline, we look for that to decrease as well. Because it's part of who we are, right? We want our young people to know they're in a safe, supported community so that they can get to the heart of learning and academic achievement to support whatever they're going to do in their lives. So I'll pause and process on those two elements of our equity leaders or restorative practices for questions before I transition into talking about our Diversity Night Festival.
I have a question. You mentioned measuring like how the teachers and educators, their self-efficacy over time. Have you measured the students, sort of like how, either what the feeling of belonging is in the student community or their perspective on the training that you provide? Is there any sort of measure of how that's changing for students?
Yeah, so for the past 3 years, we used a measure, Panorama. It's a survey measure used widely across the state. And what we've seen is a 6% increase, which is just talking to different districts and different folks to see that amount of increase in student belonging over a 3-year period is a feat. We've now switched to New Jersey School Climate Improvement Platform, short for NJ Sky. And they have a different measurement, so this year would be our baseline in that. So it's a 4-point scale, and I think our student belonging measure was like 2.89. So not bad, but also still room to grow. So we'll use that as our baseline starting off, and we'll measure that as we go forward.
And do you have the capacity to look at what that number looks like for different populations of students, like different subgroups?
So Panorama had that measure, so we can see a national average and a local average. NJ Sky doesn't have that measure, but I think we can, reach out to the administrators and get a rough estimate. But by all intents and purposes, just from talking to them through different PDs, they've even said, this is mid-ground, right? This is average for most places, but here in Franklin, we don't want to be average, right? We want to strive for our students really feeling like they have a sense of belonging in any space that they're in.
Thank you so much, and your numbers are pretty impressive, 60-70%. So I have two-part questions actually. One is, what is the role of parents? How do you collaborate with parents? Because definitely after the school, the home and society comes and plays, and the parents play a very key role.
Yes. And
the second one, what are the main challenges that left for you to kind of move ahead?
So parents are, my young people, right, my kids are in the district. So I have like a dual mindset a lot of times when I'm in my role, but we really feel like the partnership with parents is just such a key element. So one thing I've done in my role is develop a family and parent equity advisory. So we've been meeting 3 times a year. And what I've done is taken a lot of the parent responses from our family engagement surveys, from Panorama, from NJ Sky, and brought that data to the family and parent equity advisories. And right, when you talk to people in person, right, rather than a survey gives you like a direction to go in. Talking to the people, right, gives you the what, right? They will give you the examples of how that's showing up for them. And we really were able to pare down a lot of family engagement barriers from families coming in to examples like when you're doing a family engagement event at a school, have something for everybody. It's really a lot of the feedback that helped shape our Diversity Night program, right? We got something for young people, we got some food for the dads, right? We got some community vendors and resources, student, staff performances. So when somebody comes to a family engagement event, there's something for everybody. So families don't have to pick and choose, right, who goes to what. So that was, some of the feedback that came from the family and parent equity advisories. And challenges is always time, competing commitments, and funding, right? There's only a certain amount of time to get everything done, so you gotta prioritize and say, all right, we'll do this first, we'll get some feedback from it, and we'll move to the next piece and build on it. Competing commitments, from the district level to school level to classroom level. We all have 100 things to do waiting for us. So to be able to build coherence through all of those levels so that the wind is on everybody's back rather than at different times moving at different paces is always a challenge. And then, funding, especially this year with, impending budget cuts, right? You really have to be laser focused on what you want to do. That coherence works because if everybody's focused on few of the main things, right? Keep the main thing, then you can still continue with your goals.
Can you tell us what the goal is for this coming year and what are those main things that you're mentioning?
So for me, it's continuity, especially with our equity leaders. It's a never-ending journey.
Give us some examples because you are speaking a little bit kind of in general terms.
Yes.
I'd like to get some examples of the things that you did in the classrooms and in school, and this is what we did, this is how we parents got involved, and this is the results of that, and so forth. Give us something that we, at least I
can speak
can
for that,
understand.
that's okay with
Yeah.
you. So I would like to go back to the parents part because I know that all teachers, at least at the elementary level, focus on building strong relationships with parents. So just like we give students surveys to learn more about, for example, what they like, as in not as what is your favorite food or holiday. Yes, those are important, but also, do you like to work in groups? How do you like your teacher to give you feedback? We dig a little bit deep to know our students better. We also send a survey home for the parents to complete, and this is when building those strong relationships really starts. And teachers, are in constant communication, I know at the elementary level, with parents. If a problem arises, if something good needs to be, communicated home, we definitely focus not only on the negatives, we do focus on the positive because we believe, of course, that parents are part of this partnership and they need to be involved in everything. So as far as classroom examples, I can talk about math because I teach math. And when we first started, the equity training, I was teaching literacy. And at that time, I thought, whatever we were learning was really easy to implement in literacy. When I switched to teaching math, everybody thinks math is, what do you think? Math is all about numbers and operations, right? Right, wrong, black, white. I thought, oh, math is like, math and culturally responsive teaching are like, they don't meet. And boy, I was wrong because using that knowledge, for example, that we give, like the survey that we give students, using that knowledge from the survey. For example, if I know that my student celebrates a certain way or, focuses on something with the family, so now I use that knowledge, for example, to create a word problem that we solve in the math classroom. And that really shows students, like they'll be like, oh, this is me. Or so again, this, we're working on their sense of belonging, sense of agency. And what I have seen and what other teachers have seen also, not only the levels of engagement and feeling supported, feeling like you are being valued. I think our test scores also speak for that. I know that ever since I started implementing culturally responsive teaching, along with my co-teacher who teaches literacy, our scores have really spiked. We feel it. We see it every day. I know you asked about what do we do with the students. We see that every day. We hear it all the time. And I don't think that's not everything is measurable, but seeing them being engaged, wanting to come to school. Oh, math is very interesting now. All of a sudden, math is interesting. Oh, I belong in the math classroom. I see myself as an active learner in my classroom, right? As an active oh, I can do math now, right? I think that really matters. And I think seeing that in their achievement and in our test scores speaks volumes. I hope I answered your
Yeah, you gave an example.
So yes.
Math is my favorite.
And I know that I've been encouraging other math teachers. I know I did a couple of PBs also to really show them the value of including culturally responsive pedagogy in their math classrooms. And I found a lot of different ways that other teachers have shared with me. So now that kind of became my focus when I became an equity leader focused on math, is to show other math teachers that yes, you can make your math classroom, which is all about numbers and equations, culturally responsive, so your students feel like they are, or they belong, and they are active learners and participants in the
So
classroom.
one thing that I have done, I also teach math. I used to teach at the college
Yes.
as well. So in the little kids, what I've always done had different names from different countries in the math problem. Like
Yes.
John and Ali
Yes.
or somebody Indian name and so forth. So everybody can hear
Yeah.
different names. They become familiar. Oh yeah, John and Ali are friends, for example. Right? So that also is
So we
another
still
way.
use that, yes, but we also focus on the context.
Correct.
So the scenario, is that scenario familiar to students, or is it not familiar to students? For example, there was a problem about saris the other day. So some people did not know what sari is. So here we go, we're watching a movie now about sari. What does sari mean? What is something that you wear in your culture to celebrate something? So we use those word problems as like windows or mirrors to also, help students see the diversity and appreciate the diversity that exists in our community.
Anyway, if you don't know, I think we have 55 languages spoken in our schools.
Yes.
If I remember. That's just amazing.
Diverse places in Jersey, which
Second
is
most.
yes.
We're the second most
Who's
diverse.
first?
Jersey City.
That's right. I saw that the other
Yeah.
day. But that's why it's so critical, right? It's critical that we are able to have content, have folks that have capacity, that coach and support other folks that can help create those mirrors and windows and slide glass doors, right, into seeing themselves in the future. And it's ongoing, right? It's ongoing.
Can I ask, you mentioned that, the children now, like to come to class, et cetera. So are there any metrics if it has affected attendance, or it has not affected attendance, it's just that you're seeing more enthusiasm about being in the class?
So at the elementary level, I don't think attendance is really a problem.
Yeah, it's
Um,
school attendance overall, and right, the informal feedback that teachers observe, and then right, the academic achievement that shows up as a result.
Yes, but attendance is not a problem. Students are excited to come to school every day and learn.
Any occasions that do any training with the parents? I know you had some family engagement sessions, but so that they can sort of acquire some skills so that what you're training with the kids in school is supported in the home environment?
That's a great question, and something we wanted to build out to once we have enough capacity. The opportunity to participate in like parent academies that have happened at some of the elementary schools. Just provide an opportunity to kind of dip toes in and what we're building out. But definitely having community conversations, opportunities throughout the year to engage with parents on particular strategies. We definitely want to build into
Yes,
this.
yeah, a few ways.
Trying the Human Relations Committee?
Yeah.
That's bigger than normally. I mean,
Well, yes, because
Sorry, I'm
you
late.
come in, it all became.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir.
No, good to see you.
Yeah, we're a little short-staffed at the agency, or not the agency, but in the Community Relations Bureau, we're a little short. We had 2 guys out hurt, so we're moving and shaking.
On you quickly.
And then the last piece, I really just wanted to talk about something Pete's been helping us out with on our diversity awareness committee is our Diversity Night Festival happening next Friday, May 2nd. This is our 3rd year, so well-attended community event. We have student and staff performances, so students from elementary to high school perform, staff members that want to participate When we leave from the performances, we have different breakouts. So in the cafeteria, we call what we have called a Taste of Franklin. So different caterers, restaurants with many different cuisines, cultural cuisines across the community. You know, folks get to taste test different elements. We have games around the world in the gymnasium. We invite a lot of different community vendors and resources. This year, we're adding a different element with our PBIS showcase. Will also be there, and we've connected with the Franklin Township Cultural Arts Council, and they're going to do like cultural line dancing, you know, on the stage for folks that want to participate. We'll have some crafts from different cultural backgrounds in the hallway. So it's a really great night for many folks across the community to connect, learn with and from each other, celebrate our young people, and really have a real good, feel-good night.
That's wonderful. The flyer, you have flyer, right?
Yes,
on that?
yes.
Is it up on the website of the township, you know?
It is. Mary shared it,
Okay.
but I can also share it with you to
Okay.
share
Yeah,
it
please
with the
do.
community.
Yeah, that would be great. Please spread the word.
Anybody else? Anybody think of something else? Or
No, that was it for me. Any other questions?
anybody else?
I'll just add, just observing as a representative for the Human Relations
Yeah.
Commission and attending the meetings and everything, the committee has met monthly, every 2 weeks, and really has put together a great program. What is a great thing is that, and a lot of communities don't have this, there's a great partnership that Darren has created through his department there, the equity and diversity, along with the mayor and the council. So I think that's very important. A lot of times, you have separate entities. You have the schools doing something, and you have the township doing something, and there's not that communication. I think that gap with that new department that was established at the administrative level has really created a better communications for everyone to be a part of it. And of course, Darren's created more and more of the municipality committees. Cultural arts is going to be involved this year. We were involved last year, and we're at the table, which we got a good response from. And the more and more that happens, more and more, the community comes, it is a community event, just not a school district event. And so I think that's one, I think a positive thing that comes about in regards to that whole program. So, and, it has grown. The first year was huge, last year continued, and this year is even better.
Absolutely. Definitely consistent attendance across the board. We try and keep it free, right? Looking for donations for food. So if anybody has any connections for food, that's one of the biggest things. So over the next week, want to solidify that. But everything else is in a good place. And come on out if you're
We're
free.
back, I'm sure.
I think Mr. Rosenthal said he wanted to be one of the cooks if he.
That's right.
Anybody else before we go on? Thank you.
Thank you.
Like always.
Yes.
Hang around if you want.
I will let you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank
For
you.
your time.
Bye.
For your time.
Thank
Mess
you
up your
too.
flow,
Thank
No.
you.
Flyer.
Will do. I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Handle it.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna,
Thank you. Have a good night.
before we go on, I need a motion to okay the March 26th minutes.
Motion. I second. Make a motion.
Okay, I'm happy to announce that we have Captain Brown here today. We usually have a couple of the other officers. I understand that he's a little short-handed, so I'm going to call on Captain Brown for his.
I'll take the promotion. Detective Brown. I mean, you can write a letter to the director.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Work something out.
They want me to.
Yes. Yeah, so, hello for everyone again.
Mayweather, I'm like, hey.
So, I just want to, again, say thank you for accepting me into the meeting late. As you all know, we always do it as much as we can, and we try not to say no to anything. So, especially in our division, that's what we do, right? So, thank you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Detective Bobby Brown, Franklin resident for my whole life, and now I'm doing this with community relations. So for me, it's a cool experience. I've done all the other billets inside the police department. I was in the street crimes unit when we had that. I was in the detective bureau for the 4 years previous to this, and now I'm doing this, the community stuff, and it's really near to my heart. For those of you who might not know, I started our Frankel Fit program, the CrossFit program, where we run for free out of the youth center, and then from there we kind of started very similar to Mr. Plummer. We just keep piling on, right? Try to keep every year keep going. We've been going now for 5 years, and now all these other programs are going. But the only thing now is sometimes we get a little short, so we're running from one thing to the next, which is a good problem, right? So a little bit about what we have going coming up. This week is a busy week for us. It always is. Obviously, tomorrow's Bring Your Kid to Work Day, Bring Your Child to Work Day, township-wide. So I know the township employees, as well as the police officers, the rec center, all going to be coming together tomorrow. It's going to be a very nice event, 8 to 2. We're going to do a nice show, kind of show the building, show what we do, and got some food and stuff. It's going to be a nice day. Saturday is another big day. That's our DEA drug turnover day. So old prescriptions, we got it up on the website. It's been on our social media. But that's Saturday from, I believe it's 10 a.m. to 2. Basically bring, if you want to get rid of your old prescription medication, especially the scheduled stuff, right? Because that's the stuff we see go in the trash, and then somehow it gets out of the trash and it's in someone else's hands, and bad things happen. So great way to go see Officer Belvin. He'll be at headquarters on Saturday taking all that stuff in. And just so we all know, that stuff gets taken into evidence, and it's anonymous. There's no questions asked. We're not counting pills. We're not asking where it came from. It's like a gun turn-in, right? We just want that stuff out of the medicine cabinets. If we're done using it, get rid of it. That's Saturday. Sunday, we have Tour de Franklin. So another thing, we partner with the food bank on that. Starts at the high school, 08. There's a number of rides, some longer, some shorter. It's not a competition, so spread the word about that. But it's always a great turnout. Weather looks great, so that's Sunday morning from 8 to about 2 p.m. starting at the high school, and then carrying on down to Canal Road. Scenic, nice views. And while 2 of my people will be doing that, I will be at St. Matthias. They're doing a health and wellness day, right, for their parish. So myself and one of the school resource officers are going to be down there just promoting all the programs that we're running for our youth throughout the year. Our schools, our Franklin schools get us a lot, right? They get us at Pacer, they get us all the time, they see us all the time. So this is a great opportunity for us to get in the parish, make ourselves known to them, and say, hey, you guys are a part of Franklin too. It's not, we're not in the schools as much as we are in our other elementary schools, but we're here. We're an asset, and we want to, commingle. Get the St. Matthias kids coming to my programs. I have a couple kids from St. Matthias that do my program Mondays and Wednesdays. So that's a great opportunity, one, to impact the adult community on the health and wellness, because that's where it really comes from, right? You got to get mom and dad on board so that the next generation's getting the good stuff, right? The good information, just good tips, how to stay healthy, how to stay well, not just physically, mentally, all that stuff. So a bunch of vendors will be out there that day. So that's our weekend forecast. Other than that, some big things that are kind of coming up that we can use some help always promoting. Our Youth Academy is, the registration is out for that now. That's going to be in July 14th through the 18th. That's going to be running at the high school. And what we do there, obviously, you fellas Franklin High School guys?
Yeah,
You guys
I did it in my freshman year.
I was gonna say, so we got,
Media commissioners, not part of it.
yeah, it's beautiful. What's your name, fellas?
I'm Kathir.
I'm Rohan.
All right, nice to meet you. So, it's a great chance. We see a lot of kids do good things after they do this academy. We've had people do it multiple years. We've had, people go on to join the military. And it's a great chance for young people to kind of get to know the job they think they want to do, right? So, and I tell that to all people. We get a lot of inquiries like, is it hard? Is it this? I'm like, it's not the academy, but it's not easy, right? So, it's a great week. We're tough on the kids, as he could probably attest, but at the same time, it's fun, right? By the end of the week, we're having a good time, graduate, and it's a sense of accomplishment. It's something I tell, it's good to do hard things, right? And so we really have no problem filling that up, but you can spread the word about it. And that will be about 30 cadets in that class. That's in July. We're already starting to plan for National Night Out. Right, so this will be my first year running the show with that, which I'm excited about. Like you said, as a hometown guy, it's a cool chance for me to kind of like spread my wings a little bit. Hopefully we get some good weather. Last year it poured hard, and it didn't happen. So that's my biggest fear. It's like plan, and then nothing happens. So
I'd go at the Baptist church. It was a day when everyone came. They had records and spun it or something. How did that day go at the Baptist church?
Oh, recently?
Yeah, it was very recently.
A record thing, or it was like a music thing?
Bruce Baptist?
The people came into the Baptist church and they had some kind of criminal record that they wanted to.
That was last year in like October.
Well, we had it just
Wasn't it this
recently.
year?
Oh, the expungement? The expungement, yeah.
Oh.
No, that was, I know the name of the organization. That's a county organization. It's Stigma Free.
Danielson usually.
Sigma Free. I believe that was a Sigma Free commission.
Yeah.
And they hosted an expungement.
Exactly.
Basically, for those that don't know, expungement is out there. Depends on the crime criteria, if you're eligible. If drug-related offenses or you're a juvenile, basically getting that incident off your record. So there's a bunch of organizations on the county side that we kind of like lightly collaborate with. I don't know how it went, honestly. If I'm, but find out. But
Did you say it one recently? No, I'm asking him. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
thank you.
You are, and I've noticed that down through the community. I'm still having some problem with some of the knuckleheads that they still have some old police stigmas that I'm going through. But other than that, I look forward to having a good time.
Thank you, sir. And then I would say, I could plug every program we have going on right now. The one thing I do want to kind of gain momentum is, I don't know if many of you even know, we have launched a podcast. Everyone know about it? No?
I heard it.
All right, yeah. So I host some of the episodes. We got another one coming up very soon. So that we'll have our third one out on Friday. And, just when you talk to, people you talk to in town, and it's a good listen on your commute to wherever you're going, right? It's not the true crime documentary. Obviously, there's things that we can't say, we can't touch on everything, especially if the investigation's still active. But really, we want to use it as a chance to kind of like communicate in a better way, where we can just be the voice and we're not interrupted, and just kind of get through our thoughts on our projects, our equipment, where we're spending money. So on the last episode, we had the director, Captain Fredericks, Captain Wilson, and Captain Domador. And they sit down, and I'm kind of like the producer on that as far as I'm in the background, make sure everything's good. But they talk about budget, they talk about opioid settlement, like what we're trying to do with the money, or what our plans are. So it's a new venue for us to be transparent with the town and kind of give more information out than we can, or that what people would read in a post. So this is kind of a reaction to our Tuesday night talks, and just kind of not feeling like we had the traffic that we wanted. So in the podcast format, you can listen to the podcast the night it drops or a week later. right? And it's always there. So not only that too, and then you play one episode and you're like, oh, listen to this other one. Next thing you know, you're a weekly subscriber. So, and it's a great medium for people of the next generation who do listen, who take in more podcasts. So we're just constantly trying to find better ways to communicate with the town, get information out there, and that's what we plan for that podcast to be. Like our next episode, we plan to feature Derek and Allie from the food bank, who are great people, great personalities. Should be a fun episode. But we want to shed light on the food bank, let people know, hey, it's there. Like, it's not just for the extreme poverty, right? It's for food insecurity across the board. It's there for if you need help this month, right? And to kind of bridge the gap. So putting out information like that, topics like that are close to, like, hey, maybe you didn't know you could do that, but now because you listen to that episode, it's another available resource.
I have one particular very bad problem. The distinction between the police department, the police community relations bureau, the police in terms of what they're doing for the kid directly, and the youth center, which is all three are not connected to the at-risk youth or the community center. And I have been an advocate of a at-risk youth center and a community center, and all three of those items are not yet either one of those three. Either one of those two. And I'm trying to find out how one of those can meet the at-risk youth center of kids over 16 and a community center, which the center in which the center is built has been moved to. It sits where the anti-poverty agency used to be at, took care of the kids. And we're having a problem with communications between those three units and the people in that particular ward. In terms of communication, there is none.
So the at-risk center, where is that? I'm not.
Police Community Relations Bureau.
Yeah, I know.
The youth center, the work that what the cops are doing.
Yeah.
All right, and the youth center.
Well, and then you said the at-risk center. Is there?
The at-risk. Well, we have none. No.
Oh, okay. So I want to touch on that. Just it's a tough thing, right? So especially at the youth center, right? So we have three separate entities, and at the end of the day, rules have to be followed. So what happens is, and this is can take me down a deep road, right? We started all these programs to keep kids from being at risk, right? The problem is there's also a population that is following the at risk, right? So if they're not coming to the youth center, then how do we touch them? Right? How do we get involved? Right? How can we impact them? Right? Some of them don't come because there's a metal detector there now.
Yeah.
Right?
20 cops.
Well, there should be. But we want that. We want the youth center to be safe, weapons free, and we also want children to be like, yeah, the cops are there, and that's okay too. And because that's ultimately that's the goal, is for young people of all colors, shapes, walks of life to go, I'm going to the youth center, I know there's a cop at the door, I know there's 3 cops in there running chess with cops, Franklin Fit, and basketball tonight. There's 3 options where I can go learn from these people. And that's how we ultimately, slowly but surely, that's how we're trying to create the change. The tough thing is when a kid's been expelled or they've been charged with, maybe a violent crime or possession of a weapon, ultimately, yes, they are now unable to attend those certain things. The real bridge that we do have is our Road to Success program, right, where Officer Malcolm and Belvin and Officer Reed meet with those young men to try to pull them back in, right? That's really what that is like, And being honest, right, you can bring the horse to the water, can't make him drink. And we all know that, right? But we keep trying. And that's really the same, and that's the same thing that goes at the school level. That's the same thing that happens at all these levels.
Yeah, the only thing
You
is,
know.
that the community center is, you have a youth center, age is.
11 to 18.
15, no, 16.
Oh, they can be 18 at the youth center.
Well,
But-
we've told 16.
Yeah, they can go all the way up to high school.
But what I'm saying is, you have a kiddie center. You have a kiddie center. And you got thousands of youth, at-risk youth. More here than there. So we're looking at just how, how can that happen? I mean, how can we get that?
So I mean, part of it is too is like keep the ones we have, just keep investing in the kids on the good trajectory and on that path, and keep them from getting off path, right? So that's number one. That's right. That's what really all we can do now. And just the same way we built CRB, coming up on 5 years now, like I said, took time. It took time to get that building, to build that unit, and now we're at the point now. And like I said, are we done? No. Are we close? No. But we're ahead of any other town around here, and I will say that with 100% on it. We get calls. I get calls in my office from South Brunswick, Hillsborough, all these surrounding towns. How are you doing what you're doing? And it really, it's a matter of support, right? We have the support, obviously, from the director. She never would say, like, before the director, none of these programs would have flown. Laugh in our face, right? Now, we have the support from the township. We have support from vendors and local companies that have lended support, donated things. Franklin Fit was built by selling T-shirts to township residents, right? So all that stuff, it really comes down to, it takes time to build. We're headed down the right path. We do 5 good things, we'll find one thing. And that's the creative way. It's like, all right, now what's next? What's next? What's next? So we're trying, we're working, things like the My Brother's Keeper program. We've done like a school assembly with a more harder edge about drug use to try to appeal on a realer scale than conventionally used. Try to hit them in the gut, just so to say, right? Like gut punch. Like this type of behavior is taking you to a place where it's not good. It's either death, jail, or a combination of undesirable things. So, like I said, it's a tough thing for us because, right now there's 4 guys in our unit, and like I said, 2 are out, so there's, we're pretty short, but we're doing as much as we can and trying to pop out and be everywhere we can be. If there's an event going on, we're there. So my thing is too is if there is something that is happening or a gathering, something that, hey, you know what, I would like to see community relations, reach out and we'll make time.
2 short comments I will add. Thank you. But first of all, thank you for all the detailed report. The Youth Academy, just for everybody's information, is for ages 14 to 16, if I understand correctly. But there's another great program that I think you mentioned about the opioid. As part of the opioid fund, there's a program, this is for 8th to 12th grade students, and up to 30 people can register, if I understand from the director yesterday, we were talking about it, and it is for substance use prevention. And so the youth, they're going to be paid. This is during the summer, and they're going to be paid. I forgot the name, but it's one of the programs that is under the opioid funded program.
So on that, I'm not abreast on all those because right now we're getting all the programs are coming in for us to vet out. So I just don't know the name of
Just
it.
I want to make sure that you are aware of it, keep an eye on it.
Yeah, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot brewing with the opioid settlement stuff, and because once that came out, then we put out, obviously, you guys remember, they had the questionnaire and suggestion box, essentially, like, give us ideas of what to do with this. Where does this money need to be, used?
Council has been
Right.
very involved with that.
What's the split between female and male participation in any of these programs as far as what you're running?
Without the demographics in front of me, I would say it was pretty even. We tend to have more boys at the youth center. However, like my Franklin program, tonight we had about even split. I had Eva, Claire, Shelley, and so we had 5 and 5. We had 5 boys, 5 girls, right? So we get a good balance. But our thing too is like that was a big thing with a lot of our programs, and that's the biggest difference that what we're doing now than what we've done 5, 6 years ago was our programs would be Thursday night something with a cop, and it was just that Thursday, and it was over, right? And so our thing was, like Franklin Fit was, my big thing was, it needs to be all year long. So tonight there might be 10 people. We'll be there on Wednesday, and there could be 20. We'll be there on next Monday, and there might be 3, right? But we're there for the 3 that show up, because they could be anywhere else, but they're here, right? So that's the big thing is like, they know that I'm going to be there on Monday and Wednesday nights to do that. They know that Officer Tirado is going to be there for chess on Wednesday night. They know Officer Manny and things like that are going to be there for basketball. So it's kind of, we want to create like longevity, reoccurring relationships to the point where we're at the point now where I've had people graduate from my programs that are in, like I said, in the military, thinking about a career path in policing, and now they're 3 years removed from our community programs, texting me on Instagram, we're inquiring how to become a police officer in Franklin. Like, that's really happening. So, oftentimes it seems like it's a little thing, but if we get one of these kids from one of these youth programs to become we have Officer Salas was, a graduate of Franklin High School, did the youth academy, and now is an officer. Officer Salas. So it's happening, and we're just trying to keep growing it out and just keep promoting positivity. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, for your concise report. We appreciate it.
That's all sarcasm. A little
wordy.
Give me a hook.
By the way, your television screen, now you guys could free chess players, right?
Oh, I'm not on the chess. I wish I don't know how to play chess. I need to learn.
On the television screen, it has the different programs.
Oh, when you walk into the center?
No, on the television. Be on the television on channel 33.
Okay.
The television, the things that be happening in Township. And they got the chess program for kids for $176 a child.
That ain't our program.
I know, but it's the Franklin Township Recreation Department. You see what I mean?
Different. That's not the police department.
Yeah, I mean,
Department.
Those are private.
Right, now you say it again. He's saying that it's the same thing. As far as we are concerned.
No, we covered that last month.
Yeah, that's there.
That's not the police.
I can't help with
I
it.
don't care if it's Abraham.
We covered that last month.
The Recreation Department comes out of the old record, it says $176 per child.
We covered that last month, Johnny. I don't want to cover it.
Those are private programs.
That's private things. We told you that last month.
I do believe that the rec department has a scholarship program.
It's part of the rec department.
So,
Yeah, they find ways, you're right.
Yeah.
They find ways, but it's a recreation.
if you're proposing that we speak to the rec department about fees, that's another conversation.
Let's move on. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, couple other little things. You want to bring us an update on the brochure, Pete? Bring us an update on the brochure.
I'm I'm to blame here. I have an outline, but I don't have a printer. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to print anything to bring tonight. But I do have an outline that I'll have to just email to all of you. The only thing that I do have, and unfortunately I did send it and none of you were able to print it, is I do have a PowerPoint of the Hometown Heroes program. So the best I can do is send around this presentation for now.
If you send it to me, I can.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I can print it for everybody.
Yeah, I did send it.
And what I'll do is I'll print them up, bring them to the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Because I sent it to the three
Yeah,
of you.
you did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that I get printed.
We can table that. Anything new on the flags at all?
Well, that is what I'm talking about, the banners program.
Oh,
You're talking about, yeah.
Pictures.
Finally
saw one in Edison.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
Yeah. Just scroll up to see all the slides. Dr. Karzai, you were not here when this came up on the agenda last time because you had another meeting. So we need guidance on when it's time to go to the council, because we already met with Assembly Danielson's office. They have pledged their support and will contribute funds if there are any to contribute. And of course, we know that the Chamber of Commerce has also pledged their support. And I know I've had some people ask me, what does that mean? You know, do you want us to pay for it? And what we're saying is we want you to endorse the project. So, yeah, I can send, I can send Safi this presentation because, you know, we need to know what's needed for the banners, you know, what's involved, et cetera. And then pricing, because the price of the banners is dependent on the size of the banner. And also, we need to decide who's going to pay for the banners. So in most communities, as we mentioned last month, the families pay for the banner.
Yeah, we told.
But the hardware is paid for by the town because it's the town's act of placing the banner wherever it's going to be home. You know, if it's in this complex.
The council.
So let's talk.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm if it means presenting to the council, I'm happy to present.
They have a meeting next month, so you have a little time.
Fantastic.
We'll have a meeting in May. Our next meeting is on June 25th, so we.
And Assembly Danielson's office made a very good, I had thought that we could push this to November and get it done, but Chief of Staff had a very excellent idea, which was, since these banners are typically flown during good weather, let's launch the project in the spring, so that from, you know, the months of May through November, because if we launch it in November, then it's probably just going to be up for a few weeks, because towns take them down during the winter months.
Okay. Anything else? As I indicated, we did not have a meeting in May because of Memorial Day. Our next meeting is June 25th. Do we have anything else to report?
Yeah, I just wanted to inform everybody that tomorrow there is a presentation starting at 6 o'clock about affordable housing.
Right.
So
that's
if you want to learn about it,
that's the more
because we're going to have, probably we're going to build another 600 or so affordable housing in our town. A lot of people ask, okay, how can I apply for affordable housing? Or what is it? What are the requirements? Tomorrow is the day. Please come if you're interested. I'm sure you can learn something, maybe share with others that they may be interested. It's going to be here at across 6 o'clock.
That's here,
starts.
right?
Here? No, it's going to be across the
Okay.
in the chamber. 6 o'clock tomorrow, right? And yesterday in the council meeting, there was quite a bit of discussion about the budget. You know, people were saying, oh, the taxes are going to go up. Now, probably everybody has received their assessment, the house value has gone up. So is it going to be my taxes proportionally is going to go up relative to what I had last year? The answer is no, it's not, it doesn't work that way. So every year we have to, the Franklin Township assess the value, depending on the market price and so forth, right? So, for example, my property went from $700,000, for example, to $850,000. But my tax is not going to be going proportionally. In fact, as far as the taxes, we spent quite a bit of time in the township, talked about our budget and so forth. Even though our expenses has gone up by about 6.5%, the municipal part of the taxes, we're only going to be increasing about 2.65%. So that's the amount, just the municipal part. Just remember, municipal taxes is only 14% of our taxes. So as a council, we try to keep the taxes as low as possible. So, but the school tax, of course, is different and there are others, but what the council is responsible is we have kept it at 2.6%.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, if we have nothing else, I'll take a...
I just want to bring up the Diversity Night Festival is May 2nd.
What time is it?
6 o'clock. So Ed and I did the table last year. We had some materials that we gave out with conflict resolution, peer mediation, things like that. Supplied by.
Send me that, and then I'll...
All right, yeah, so if anybody wants to come over for a little bit,
Yeah.
we were there, we don't mind, I mean, it was great because we were able to meet a lot of people. People came
May
by.
2nd, Pete?
May 2nd, yeah, I think it's at,
That's a Friday.
yeah, exactly. So we'll send the brochure out again, or the flyer.
Thank you all. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.